So we'll just do a quick roll call. So we have Addy is there, Shailesh is there, Jenny is there, Nimisha is there, Romita is there, Ravi is there. As my old school teacher in Mayo would say,
Yeah.
anybody who's missing, please raise your hands.
Nice.
Okay, so we're going to start. Um, why don't we start by a small introduction of Shreyans and Anusha?
Yeah.
I'll hand it over. I can't do justice to both your amazing rise and stellar careers. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and then we can start.
Amazing. Thank you, firstly, so much, Apur, for organizing this and letting us also talk about our milestones and everything that we've done together. Guys, I'm Anousha, and that's my brother Shreyansh. I come from a modeling and fashion background, and he comes from a hardcore corporate background, and that's how we complement each other as founders. I've had a long career, like almost more than a decade long career in fashion modeling. I used to walk the ramp, I used to do commercials, pan India and also internationally. And in my career, I had a whole lot of skin and hair issues, which I'll talk later about, which led me to start finding sustainable ways of trying to fix myself from within and heal myself from within. And because of that, this whole journey and my entire profession would transition to becoming an entrepreneur from a fashion model. So that's me.
Yeah, and I'm the guy who never even put sunscreen on. So I was
Yeah.
very away from the beauty market. And I started my career with PricewaterhouseCoopers, got some experience in finance, did my MBA from SIBM Pune, joined Whirlpool where I was leading digital marketing. And then in my last career, before Anusha acquired me,
He was my first acquisition.
so,
Literally, I always say that.
so before we started doing Beautiwise, I was working with TCL. It's a consumer electronics company. It's the second largest television manufacturer. So I had a very nice mix of marketing, finance. So had an overall understanding of how businesses work, how different segments of the corporate work. And Anusha obviously had very deep consumer insights, understanding about supplementation, beauty industry as a whole. So, like she mentioned, it kind of worked out in the sense of us being able to complement our skill sets.
Excellent. So, point to be noted here is when you're pitching, try to connect the problem with your personal experiences.
Absolutely.
So, founder market fit is as important as a product market fit. So, we always talk about two things. We talk about a product market fit and then we talk about a founder market fit. Are you the right founder to solve for this? So, look at the introduction, very crisp, clear. They are talking about their complementary strengths. So Shreyans is talking about digital marketing, finance, consulting. Anusha is talking about subject matter expertise, understanding of the market, and together they make a great team. So Shrey and Anusha, if you could start with your journey, like how did you start Beautywise? Which year was it? What happened?
This was, let's say, right in the middle of COVID, when I was having a whole lot of issues with my skin and hair, which weren't getting all right. Over the years, I'd applied all the creams and all the serums and all the hair oils and everything, because being a part of the beauty industry, I had experts all around me. I had the best of makeup experts. I had the best of hair experts. I had the best of people who were giving the best of tips. But nobody was talking about nutrition that could help you from within. And also, those creams were only and the serums were only working till the second layer of your skin. So my problems weren't, let's say, getting rectified. And that led me to start trying to find alternative ways and seeing what's happening outside of India. How are people dealing with these issues outside of India? And as a pattern, realistically talking, we all, and I'm sure you all can also resonate with this, we used to believe, I used to believe that supplements from abroad used to be more trustworthy. We used to pack a lot of stock up a lot of supplements, or tell all our relatives who used to be visiting other countries that, please, can you get me these supplements, because we don't get them here, but they really work. Why? Because we thought they're clean label. Why? Because we thought that those supplements are more trustworthy, they're better manufactured, they're definitely going to do good to my hair and skin. And we used to like have those supplements. But I saw that kind of a miss in India, where India has a lot of nutrition supplements, but they don't, nothing that caters to beauty requirements. It's very important to have a niche in your brand, that what exactly are you solving. You don't want to solve everything. You want to solve that one particular thing that people will remember you by. That, oh, if I have this and this problem, that this is what I need to, this is the company that I want to go for, not that company for anything else. So beauty supplements is something which we found our niche in. And Shrey that time was
Yeah.
looking at me and understanding, and we both were discussing about these the potential of this industry in India at a very
While
stage.
they come, while
He
they
read
come
up a
back on
lot. He
audio,
did
I
a
can
lot of
vouch for it.
research. It is great in the new suit.
I was just vouching that ever since I met Shrey and he's been having Beautiwise, he's become very beautiful. So it clearly works.
Yeah, well, supplements well, especially beauty-wise supplements.
Apur, now he's
So
the beauty and I'm the vice in Beautiwise. It's
yeah.
becoming, we becoming complementary in that also.
So yeah, I think Arun will also join
Now
in,
look at the
and
product
Sankar
promise.
will
We
also
made
join in
Shrey
further.
beautiful.
But
It's a
yes, just
strong hack. Like you can't.
oh yes, anything is possible, guys.
That's a case study right here.
So yeah,
So
this is when we started Beauty Guides. Yeah, just to add on a small bit, like I was in the middle of my corporate career, and I did both the things parallelly. So I used to take out time towards the evenings, really get into the market research, identify where uh, we can fit in as a consumer-led brand, and I think that really helped us while
Hmm.
to be able to actually have that time frame to
Yeah,
think about it, really strategize, because right from the beginning we weren't haphazard. We were very targeted with like which kind of clients do we want to go to, where do we see our brand, do we see it as a recommendation or do we see it as a pure online play. So all those answers were questioned very early on in our journey.
absolutely right. It's very important when you start to have clarity about what is it that, how do you want to go in your path of building your brand. Do you want to go online first, let's say, for instance, or you want to go retail first, or you want to go, for us it was mostly dermatology and clinics is something that we wanted to tap. So it's always better if you have clarity about your nascent path in your brand journey.
so tell us about most of the founders on the cohort are building DTC brands. So how did you beauty supplements is a broad category. How did you do your product selection and how did you think about positioning Beautywise?
Yeah. So I think for us and for consumer brands, it's very important that we get like very real with what the consumers want.
Yeah,
We'll always have biases as individuals to what will work, what will not work. All the personal experiences like Anusha had give a very strong motivation to start and to enter something. But beyond that, it's consumer knowledge that needs to start coming in.
and we did a lot of exhibitions, Ray, and like we also launched at Fashion Week. We got a lot of consumer insight. We understood what the models were talking about, what were their issues. We went around, did a lot of tastings, with our collagen to understand what flavors are working. Will they have something like this and not be suspicious about it? Because like our first product was collagen, and it was still at a very early stage where people were understanding what collagen is. Now everybody understands it, but I'm talking about 3 4 years back, people didn't know. So it was important for us to understand if people are even going to be, receptive, friendly to the whole idea, warming up to the idea of ingestible beauty supplements. So
Right. And right after that, one was like direct interaction with consumers. Second, and perhaps more importantly, is when we started looking into dermatologists, serving them that what are the key concern areas? Why do people seek aesthetical intervention for?
yeah,
Why is it that someone is going to a skin clinic spending 30,000, 40,000 rupees? What are the problems that they're facing? And can we solve those problems using nutrition? And in most cases we could really help proactively to resolve those issues or to delay the onset of some of the issues like skin
premature
anti-aging
yeah,
and
aging.
premature aging, hair fall, skin brightening, Perhaps slimming is what we are looking at now.
Next.
So whatever the dermatology clinics were doing and the 5 segments that they have, we tried and formulate supplementation that could work along with their treatments. So that gave us a very natural entry into that segment as well. And the idea there was that one dermatologist probably speaks to 1,000 consumers. So if you look at, it's not necessary that for us that you only to speak to consumers. When you speak to KOLs, which are key opinion leaders like dermatologists or nutritionists, you're getting a very large data set of people also condensed into one person. So that one personal interview or one survey with 100, 150 dermatologists is a goldmine of data, guiding us towards where we can start developing our products towards. Apoorv, I think you raised your
Yeah.
hand.
Now, if all of you can take a moment to just think about who are the KOFs in your industry.
Hmm.
So, Jenny, in your case, it could be stylists, people who style models. Most Bollywood people have stylists.
Yeah.
Shailesh, for you, it could be, the, I don't know, the village pradhans or the mukhyas or somebody else. Uh, just think about, do you know your KOFs well? If not, how do you get to know them well? How does the brand connect with them and start resonating with them? Prashant, for you guys, it could be the, dentist and yeah, good question. Prashant has a question.
Yeah.
Hello.
So the first product that we had, which was a collagen-based product, already came with clinical trials, and the ingredient was clinically tested. So collagen was clinically tested because right from the onset of the brand, had to deal a lot with dermatologists. So either we had clinically tested ingredients, or we had clinical research backing the products. So
Ingredients.
yeah, in any case, we had enough and more research because we were dealing a lot with dermatologists. So we had to have proof of concept in
For
terms
them.
for them. Also, we did a lot of innovations around the format itself, which we will probably dive into a little later.
Okay. Uh, so once you selected a category, now tell us about your thinking around packaging. Uh, Now we hear about sustainable packaging. How did you decide on the primary pack, secondary pack, shipper? What were the considerations? How did you find a supplier? What
We did.
percentage of the overall product should be the packaging, right? The contribution of packaging to the overall COGS? Yes,
Right.
Rini.
Yeah. So for packaging, I think like one of the most important, and this is a very funny story, in fact. So if you look at our dual action capsule packaging, it's like a rigid box, like what you would see in mobile phones. So so it opens from the top like an iPhone. The box looks like an iPhone. And
It's
why
like a
is
perfume box or an iPhone box. It's a really nice, solid, rigid box for a supplement, and nobody does it right now. People do a lot of
Can we
other.
see it in case you have one lying around, or if you can
Yeah.
share a video? The beautiful packaging with those small transparent. Let me see if I can pull out a YouTube video and share. Okay, I got an interesting video which is, let me see if I can share it. This is,
I'm sharing a video.
Okay.
the audio is full, but you will be able to see it soon.
This is a Nika ad, so they've plugged in our product towards the end. It ends with us, and it
It's
talks
been
about.
way too fast. Yeah, look at this one.
So I'll do one thing, Purv, if you have the sharing rights, I'll just
Yeah, yeah.
share. I'll
Please
share
go ahead and share. Yeah.
the old one.
Yeah, this is good.
So the packaging. So Shailesh, in your case, it could be the tractor delivery experience. Like if you see in, uh,
Insta, do you have
yeah,
Insta?
Hmm.
yeah.
On Insta, what's there?
Yeah, on our Insta.
Or on the Insta.
You have this girl who's told you we can show her. Then there was a opening pack review. I'm just gonna show that opening pack.
Just tell me which one.
Hmm.
We are on the screen. This one.
Yeah,
This one
like this
left.
is how. Yeah,
This one.
yeah.
Yeah, because it shows the.
Yeah. So if you can see there are two mode. There's a the rigid box, and a transparent bottle, and
Do you
both
have
these.
like a still photo, Shreyans? Because in this it'll keep moving and it's small, so they can't see it.
Yeah,
Because your
yeah.
packaging is amazing. Can you make it bigger?
I can
Even
do that.
bigger? Yeah. And scroll right. Yeah. So it's very clean. The packaging, the claim, so skin brilliance.
And this is what the capsules look like from inside. I'll just like
Yeah, we
open
can.
it on a deck and fine.
You
Yeah.
can actually show this healthy air one or deck mein aa jayega, theek hai?
Hmm. So this is what the capsules also look like.
So it's a very unique technology that we work along with, where you can see the skin brilliance capsule has beadlets, and then it's the beadlets are floating in oil, and skin resilience has a capsule inside a capsule. So this, apart from just looking aesthetically very beautiful and resonating with our beauty supplement brand, this is also technically very good for bioavailability and other.
Yeah. So just very briefly, just one story I would love to share here is that I think when I was working with TCL and Alcatel, we were selling mobile phones. And that idea also kind of stuck with me because if you look at mobile phones and you open them, there is a very strong unboxing experience.
Yeah.
So we wanted to translate that unboxing experience into our packaging. Secondly, if you look at the inside bottle, it's a transparent bottle, right? Because we want to showcase our capsules. So usually people don't use such transparent bottles. It
Mm.
kind of depicts transparency, and at the same time, you can see the capsule and the beautiful technology that's inside easily. And then it's the capsule itself, which itself is a format that's very unique and capsule in capsule format. So I think that was the process of like packaging for dual action
So on
capsules.
Insta, we have this video, which is unboxing.
Actually, that's also a very good
Yeah, it's a
video.
good video to show exactly how our.
Where is it?
Just go down on Insta. You'll see this hand
So
with
the
two
point
buttons.
to note here is they're not only looking at, they're looking at every aspect of the customer experience. They're looking at the pack, they're looking at the unveiling. By
This
the
is
way,
what,
great creatives. Whenever I see the Beautiwise handle on Insta, I'm like, my God.
Yeah.
this is the one.
No,
No, you
this is
should.
not the one. This it says Pratishtha. Go niche. Go down. Go down. Go down.
So you can, without them telling you, you clearly know who's the finance and ops person and who's the marketing person.
Go down. This one.
Okay. Yeah, so this one
See the
shows the
video?
unboxing of the video itself.
Yeah. So you can. This is more comprehensive to see how the experience is.
So yeah, that's the packaging.
Sam,
I think
would love to get your views around um, what proportion of your COGS is packaging. How do you look at the
like
economics of packaging? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think like overall packaging is lesser than still approximately it's lesser than 2.5%. And that's because our ASV is quite high as well. So at a gross level, like we are easily able to manage from 2 to 2.5% and I believe that for some categories it can be as high as 5%, but not higher than that. For us, we try to keep it below 2.5. We don't see it. Uh,
Got it.
yeah. So two and
Now
a half.
tell us about, you have this incredible packaging. How do you do storytelling around packaging? And I think perhaps there could be some good inputs for Fiona as well here on how do they do storytelling around packaging and how do you, yeah.
Yeah. So storytelling around packaging. Firstly, I think I wouldn't call it like story telling, but what we have tried to do in the packaging itself, and always we've kept that thing, is
Consistent.
that like whatever are the key callouts are clearly mentioned. Whatever are the ingredients are clearly mentioned. We try to dumb it down. If you can show me the collagen packaging as well. You had the collagen,
Yeah,
right?
it's behind you. One sec, I'll just take it.
Hmm. So even in the collagen packaging, we look at both the consumer as well as probably the retailer who's going to be talking about the product. So we try and dumb it down to the level that, okay, this is the name of the product, this is what it does, and there are,
What
say,
ingredients are there?
there are 7 benefits. So we call it 7 benefits, 7 ingredients, and we call it out very simply, so that even a retailer by the end of it will not
Struggle with,
remember
yeah.
all the training. Sometimes it's months before we've like touched base with them, but they can just quickly look at the packaging and go like, okay, this is what it does, and these are the ingredients and how it is done, and these are the certifications. So we try to dumb it down for
Simplify it
and
for
simplify it
customers.
as much as possible. And now the idea is to remove all the clutter. So whatever we think is not necessary or is not really adding on something or is repeated, we want to remove it from the packaging.
So minimalistic is the way to get a better experience. I mean, like storytelling could be getting your people who you would want to, for them to talk about your brand. They should have your product and they should experience it. They should post videos of it. They should, the fact how to open, like how's the opening experience. If there's a catalog inside, what does it say? How's the product looking? What is your first like glimpse of the product? Is it looking beautiful? Is it an opening from the top or is it an opening from here? Opening from here makes better sense because then you first can see the product properly. So all those finer details contribute to your storytelling because people remember experiences. They remember how a product made them feel. A lot of people, for they also put like little perfume in there. If it's a clothing brand, so they already have like a little something that can give a good fragrance. So people do all different kinds of things to enhance experiences around the product packaging and opening of the product.
We also have a question around manufacturing,
Hmm.
and is it outsourced or not? Yes, manufacturing is
Outsourced.
outsourced, but very interesting thing there that our manufacturer is also a strategic investor who's joined us in
In our
this
round.
round. So that is very helpful in multiple ways, giving us product protection, better pricing, and so on. And do we have a separate vendor for packaging and the product itself? We have a separate vendor for packaging because these are slightly specialized packaging. Although many times vendors do manufacture packaging itself, but what we found that the kind of quality and attention to details that we require, the kind of technology that goes into the packaging itself, we require specialized vendors to be able to manage that. So it's assembled at the manufacturer's place, but we provide all the material.
Packaging material for them to do the whole end-to-end packaging.
And one packaging would have more than 3, 4 vendors for different aspects of it.
Now that's a very good segue into fundraising. So tell us about your whole fundraising journey and how did you start meeting people? And eventually, there's a happy story of us meeting. So that can also come.
Which is itself quite
Which is,
interesting.
yeah, which is the best story amongst all. We were We found Apurv at a very like we had just started looking out, and we lucked out with Apurv and Tarun, and I feel like it was literally our synergies matched instantly. I still remember we met Apurv at his house, and we had a first meeting, and he felt as if something we should continue and we should meet again, and it was amazing. And since then it's just been meeting more people. Apoorv guided us, Tarun guided us to, once we became a team, we were we were opened up to such a huge world of VCs and investors and people we had no idea about, because as founders you're literally sometimes just living under a rock. You don't know everything. You know about your product, you know about like what you want to do in your business, you're passionate, but what is it like, how can you scale up your business, and who are the people who can help you, like pillars in your journey, is something which is equally crucial, which so many times founders don't know. And I feel that is where.
Absolutely. So, incidentally, got introduced, and maybe I would ask Kapoor to share the story there, and how did we end up knowing each other?
Sure. So I have a friend who runs a e-commerce company, and he also runs a fund. So
Yeah.
we end up meeting once in 2 3 months, and he always says, Pur, we should do something together. And uh, so out of the blue, I had met him a couple of days ago. So he calls me and he says, I met this very good founding team. They are too early for us. Um, and I'm mentally thinking, he does early stage. So what does he mean they're too early for him? Then he says, I'm introducing you to them. You should meet them. And when I met Shreyansh and Anousha, I was like, these guys are really, really good, and they can go really far. So I basically messaged that guy back. Uh, he's a Gurgaon based founder. So I messaged him back saying, please add them to your anti portfolio. We are going to make them big. That's the story.
So that was so fantastic for us to get a reference and a referral, and that matters a lot, because trustworthiness and credibility is kind of built by the network that you are in, and obviously you need to back it up with like numbers, and
Passion and
your
everything.
passion and your vision around the brand and so on. But uh, getting to the right connects was so critical right from the beginning. And like Anusha said, we really lucked out with the pool, because no one better to
To have guided
enable
us,
us and to
enable
guide us
us.
to like
No,
where to be.
the feeling is mutual. But just tell us about your initial journey. Like, how did you reach out to the first investor? What was the process? Because all of them are at early stages and they are now in the fundraising journey. So it'll be great to hear. What were some of the questions? How did you handle rejection, if any?
Yeah, so initial levels, we just looked at like founders who were already funded, who were in the part of our network,
And HNIs and few.
and a few HNIs, and we just asked for referrals. And the idea at the very initial stage was to get as many pitches as possible. At least that's the way that we took. That let's get out there, because pitches will keep getting refined. What was the worst that's going to happen? Someone's going to give you a feedback
Yeah.
around like why they're not all right to invest at this stage. So your pitch gets refined, your ideas get refined, your business gets refined. But initial level pitching was mostly through getting warm introductions, cold calling. Even we've always believed in
Reaching
reaching
out.
out, so directly cold calling and trying to get our way in as well, which does work to some extent. Obviously, the percentage is slightly lesser, but which also does work.
We were
And
also given this feedback also, that you must reach out to people on your own. Even if you don't
correct.
have a reference, it's fine. You can just drop a message, take the numbers, drop a message, see how it goes. There's no harm in
So
sometimes
we've
reaching.
even done LinkedIn at the initial stage.
Yeah, I'll say all things being equal, a warm outreach is always better.
Yes.
Definitely.
So, like, I'll give you an example. Um, if you look at the investors who've invested in Beautiwise,
Yeah.
and if Parag, or sorry, if Shrey and Anusha were to write to any of them, like if Shrey was to reach out to Amit Singhal from Fluid and say, hey Amit, here is a founder friend who's building this. I rate them very highly. That's gold. the
Yeah.
investor will always take a recommendation from their existing portfolio company or a
Ab-
co-investor very, very seriously.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I agree.
And that's what we did at the initial
Hmm.
stage. Reached out to our co-founder, sorry, our founder friends, and tried to get some intros, and that panned out pretty well, because one thing led to another. Someone, once you are in that structure, one person would connect you to someone else. One would might say that, okay, I have a competing brand, but let me see if I can connect you to this person. They were looking for a early stage D2C led brand, or like it happened with Apoorv, that we got a recommendation very early on. And Apoorv, before we ended up meeting you, we didn't meet too many
We were just meeting
startups.
maybe a handful of people, and our common friend was one of them. And that's why I said that we lucked out at a very initial stage. But I know that that is the right way. Even if it takes a little more time, it's important to build your connection. It's important to go out there and see who your, who are the people who you can trust for connecting you uh, to relevant people.
By the way, the trick in fundraising is the moment you come across as desperate, the vibe you're sending is they're about to run out of cash.
Yeah,
And, immediately you start getting dinged. So
yeah,
you always have to look and sound very self-assured. So I remember when Shrey and Anusha came to meet me at my residence, they were like, "We're not sure whether we are raising. We're just
yeah.
meeting some people." And I was like, "Oh, I know this game. I can see through it, but it's nice to see." They were very well raising. Otherwise, you wouldn't go around meeting people. But they were always, "Hey, we're not raising. We're just meeting people. We'll see what do we need to do."
We're not sure right now, but we're absolutely fine. Cash flows are great. We don't need the funds. But that is the right way. You should always look like, I second the pool. You should always look self-assured, which you should be, and you should always be confident in your business so much that you don't need the investor as much as they need you, because it's a collaboration where they're also going to be equally benefiting, and that's
Tell
when
us
the
about, were you able to handle all the questions all the time? Did you get stumped at times? What did you do when any meeting which didn't go well? This is a very,
anywhere.
this is a close space. This is a trusted
Yeah,
space. So you can, be very.
I mean, we did a lot of great pitches, which Apoor had told us that mail these funds. So I remember there were some 10, 15 odd funds who we had mailed to. Most of them reverted. Maybe a handful, maybe a couple of them didn't. But mostly everyone did.
More or
And we
less
had a pitch
everyone.
with mostly with everyone. I think one or two investors were very suspicious of supplements. So they had questions like, "What if I eat 10 of them together? So tab kya hoga? Then it's not good for me." So we didn't know how to handle those questions. Like I was getting very like, why would you have 10 of them? Like, what does that mean? But I think that wasn't the right approach, because I was like, one could have the whole bottle if you want to. So sometimes the investors can get a little, in my experience, suspicious, or just they want more validation around what you're doing. They don't fully sometimes understand your space, and they want to see how much you understand your space. So they're
I
going
guess
to
it's
keep
like a stress interview. They just want to,
pushing
pepper
you.
Absolutely.
push you.
We've
To
gone through
We've
those
gone
as
through those.
well,
Yeah,
wherein like everything is questioned.
yeah.
That, okay, you are saying all of this, how do I know? You are saying, do you meeting dermatologists and you have this
But what if
survey,
somebody else comes and
but
this
anyone can
happens?
claim that,
Yeah,
right? So there's a lot of stress that can come into interviews. What I have come to realize is
but
that
be
stay
calm.
humble, be calm,
Yeah,
and stick to your guns.
yeah.
That what do you know about? The most common question,
Hmm.
which is a very difficult one to answer according to me, is that what if a bigger brand comes and does what you're doing, and what are you going to do then, right? And I think that's a fairly common and a very reasonable question to ask. But initially, I didn't have the right answers for it, and overall, and over time is when I could like really develop it, that answer and that understanding as well. So these
Hmm.
questions are not necessarily negative. Sometimes they do nudge you in the right direction, that these are the things that you should be knowing about
Hmm.
and you should be working towards.
good trick is to, after every call, because it's fresh on your mind, write down all the questions, introspect for yourself, score yourself. Did you answer it correctly? Are you happy with the answer? Can the answer be improved? Uh, There is, I'm sure, even somebody as accomplished as, I don't know if CJ is still on the call. I think he's logged off. But most of us practice. So I think just practice your pitch, keep making it better, keep writing down questions. And after 10, 15 calls, you'll become so good that you'll be able to nail all answers. Yeah.
Absolutely. And
We
getting
saw
number of
that.
pitches was like, yeah,
Yeah.
you could like wake me up from sleep and like we could start pitching. So
Exactly.
we were so used to.
It was like somebody
Uh,
wants you to pitch now, and we would do it. So you have to become so adept with your pitch, and that happens with your in your own journey of pitches. Once you start pitching, you can literally you're eating, sleeping your pitch. You can present anytime.
Rini has a question.
Hmm.
Yeah.
When did you start making noise on social media? Did you soft launch the product first, or did you start the conversation on social media and then do a grand launch?
We
So
actually didn't soft launch it.
yeah, so what we did was like you can call it a soft launch, you can call it trials, but what we did was that we reached out to consumers through exhibitions. Like our first instance where we put out the product was at a fashion week.
Hmm.
That in the backstage we put out a free coffee machine and free coffee shop, and where we were putting our collagen and giving the coffee and collagen for free, just to be able to get the feedback from that fraternity. So we did smaller activities and engaging activities. Initially we held something what we call as beauty brunches, where every food was made out of collagen. So just getting the word out there that are people comfortable in eating collagen, it's marine based, what is the feedback on the flavoring, what's the feedback on
The
overall
smell,
idea, are
experience.
people accepting that you are consuming something, it will make you beautiful. This is very in the very early stage, right? So not a soft launch, but multiple
Experiences.
interactions and experiences is what we did. Um,
Which assured us that this is something people are accepting. They're okay to have supplements in their food. They're okay to have supplements in water, and they're fine with the whole idea, which led us to taking it forward.
and around noise on social media and doing a grand launch, no, we've
Yeah.
tried and build it sustainably and gradually over a period of time. But now with this funding, you can expect a lot of noise and
But up till now,
launches.
we've been there on social media. We've tried to educate, and we've tried to impart the right things about our supplements to people. But we haven't really done anything grand on Insta yet.
Thank you. Thank
Also,
you.
yeah,
That's helpful. That's very helpful.
also, I feel it's important that in your community, you should always reach out to your community to help you out to create that noise. It doesn't need to be grand. It just needs to be amongst your people. That's that's the first thing we did.
Great. Tell us about, there is always a problem which happens. At times you meet investors, the meeting goes very well. You exit the meeting thinking, aa gaya paisa. And then
Yeah.
you realize that, oh, suddenly they've stopped responding. What's going on? How do you do warm follow-ups versus cold follow-ups?
Hmm. So one of the tricks is that like you start sharing a bit of news around yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's always a little helpful. That even after an interaction, if like no agenda, you are WhatsApping something that's not directly related and very pushy. That okay, when can we connect again and what are you thinking? But just like sharing something, sharing some greetings, festive greetings, sharing some Insta post, some if you have gotten some article out or something of that sort, sharing those kind of just warms up people. And in fundraising, I think rejection is acceptable
It's
and
redirection.
and it's just redirection, because at the initial stage um, there would be some things that you would need to refine about yourself, about your pitch. So it's all right to firstly you need to understand that it's not necessary that it's a rejection in terms of that your business is not going to do well. A rejection does not mean that. A rejection can be for so many reasons
Hmm.
that they are not interested in that category, they are over invested in that category, they have different priorities, they
Or
have
you're
different,
too early for them.
you're
They're
too
they're
early
putting
for
you on
them.
tracker. Many times that's happened with us.
So another very interesting thing, Apoorv, is that most of the rejections that we have now today, we are there on their tracker, and they do come up to us, and then they've asked for like either quarterly calls
Quarterly,
or
yeah,
bi-yearly calls, that okay, or they've given us a target that once you reach this level of investment, sorry, this level of
revenue.
revenue, please do reach out to us. So constant engagement is something that is a part of this overall structure.
Excellent. Now, I'll give you the other side, the investor side, right? We typically get 25 to 30 messages on WhatsApp, phone, Insta. A young investor friend told me on Tinder, so it's crazy. Bumble, whatever.
Wow,
I didn't even know you could do fundraising on Bumble, but
Oh wow, that's really
that's new.
entrepreneurial.
Yeah,
all this is happening. And at times, you're just tired. You've had a bad day. The rejection could be for many reasons.
yeah,
So it is very important that you use the 30 minutes you have with the investor very, very sharply. You're respectful, you're well prepared, you don't get flustered, you have answers. Make it a very high quality interaction. Like we always, coach the companies we work with. It's okay to lose a deal. Don't lose the relationship.
absolutely.
There are founders whom I have not bagged. They still stay in touch very respectfully. They invite us to their
Hmm.
events, their homes, and it is amazing. And at times, later on, it results in a portfolio relationship. Or at least, if they reach out, they need help, we are always there. Yeah. Good question from Ravi.
Yeah. Do you guys do any
Yeah,
sampling original products prior
extensively.
to launching? Do you do it now also, and where? So sampling, like we kind of mentioned, that through hosting smaller sort of events where we think that we'll find our audience is where we do sampling. So we have, for example, we mentioned about Fashion Week and doing collagen coffee there. There's a cafe called Greener Cafe. It's so
Vegan cafes.
and it's a vegan cafe. So we did a lot of sampling of our plant-based range there, protein and so on. So the consumer customers that are there, we would, yeah, 30-second milestone. It's there as well. It's in
There as well.
GK. There are
There's
three, four of
Vasant
them
Vihar.
now.
We did it in Vasant Vihar, GK.
Soon they might be our portfolio company. So watch the space.
Rina, really?
Oh wow.
Oh, wonderful.
They're doing a fantastic job.
Yeah.
I think I really like the food there as well.
No, no,
But
yeah, Weber is
so
that way very, he's a visionary. He's created such a good vegan cafe. Chain.
so yeah, we did like very personalized sampling where we are getting immediate feedback more or less. Secondly, what we did was we did,
Sorry.
yeah, we also did what you can consider not to be blind tasting but tasting of multiple flavors amongst the peer group. So we'll make 10 people sit, and we have 3 4 samples of flavors, and we'll ask them to rate them, for example, so that we get an idea that on the sensory, what is it that people like better. And it's not necessary taste, and all these things are so subjective that it's better to have some sort of a research back and
Yeah.
feedback around it. Because what I like today might
You might find it too sweet. Other might find it there is less sugar.
especially with sweet. So we had
Yeah.
to increase the sweet levels.
Yeah.
We were thinking that it needs to be less sweet for it to be premium.
But
But
we,
India is a market that loves slightly heightened sweet, and it also gives you a sense of energy.
in sense of
So
stevia, not sugar free, but we had to, the
yeah,
taste needed to be sweeter.
but sweetness is something that works very well. So all that learning comes from putting the product out there and asking for feedback.
And now we do sampling otherwise. We,
Correct. We also have sampling pouches,
yeah.
which we distribute to retail with a particular billing size. They hand out those samples, or we give it to clinics so that if someone comes to a clinic, instead of a beverage, you can get offered a collagen drink.
For them to
So,
taste it and then maybe
so,
purchase a
so we do
sampling. Yeah. Even
sampling.
now we do it. It's changed. Earlier it used to be
So
new.
okay. So do you do sampling with your current orders also? Like some orders comes, you put some free samples or something like
We do
that
that.
also?
Over a certain amount of purchase somebody
Okay.
is made. We put in, we
And
realize, we realize
okay.
that person has got a certain flavor of collagen. So we'll give another sample of flavor for that person to try it the
And
next
how
time.
do you take the feedback for that sample in return? So you do guys call after some few days or so?
No, so honestly, we have not reached that level wherein we are
Yeah.
getting an immediate
Okay.
feed. We don't have a feedback loop for
But clinics
sampling
where
on
they give
website.
out beverage, they definitely,
Clinics, you get a
yeah,
very good feedback
yeah. Or they
from
find
them.
out
Understood. Understood.
the servers
Got it. Thank you.
ask.
Tell us about the fundraising process. So, how did the first uh, acceptance come? How did you use that to get others to align? And you had a very interesting journey, right? Because later on, other investors came in, they wanted to revise the term sheet. So,
Right. So, firstly, long process. Be prepared to streamline certain things before you go into fundraising. It is a slightly long process, and for good reasons. You are raising capital based on trust at this stage, so it does take its fair amount of time. The first and the smoothest was going through AC Ventures and getting the initial level of commitment of funds. So at that stage, we were raising around 3 to 3.5 cr, 3.5 cr of funding, and we managed to get commitments worth around 2.5 to 3 cr very
Early
early
on.
on. So once Apurv has backed you up, so everyone, it's just easier from there,
It's no
right?
question. People already they trust the person so much that they know that it's a vetted company and they can put their money in it. And it got us so
Right.
many partnerships.
So the process typically is that you have a conversation with the fund itself, and then they ask you questions, and they will have their own partners and their own process wherein they will vet you. They will see if they want to take you up further or not.
Hmm.
And then if it's an angel fund, typically a set of angels or LPs, you will go ahead and pitch to them. So there would
You'll
be
have an
two one.
IC with it.
So there are in a way two two pitches in a way per angel fund, and so we could cover that amount. And while we were almost done with the round,
We went for a D2C
we
million day.
went for one event which is called D2C Million Dollar Day,
Million
and our
dollar
round
day.
size was doubled from there. So
Yeah.
almost a
Apoorv was
million.
there, who obviously told us that, suggested that we must be there, even though we've completed our round, just for fine tuning our pitch and practicing more. We should go and pitch it out there, even though our round was closed. So
So that doubled our round size
we have investors
effectively,
sitting there
and
who
we got a fantastic set of investors coming in through that round as well.
as well.
And while that was happening, so already we had AC Ventures, and very early on we got a commitment from a manufacturer who is one of the biggest names in pharmaceuticals, by the name of ACG. So we had already built in a lot of credibility with the kind of people who were backing us up. So going forward, these events, like, one tends to think that, okay, these are very competitive events. It's already pre-decided probably who's going to get through. So there are
Or
many
you're done with your
misperceptions
round.
that at least I personally had, that,
Yeah.
they already probably have like these 2, 3 people that they've decided they're going to invest in and stuff like that. But no, that's not really true. I think it's so much better to be able to just be, just go and get those pitches
Be
in,
seen. As
and to
many
be seen.
opportunities you have, you need to be seen. You need to be putting your voice there. You need people to know about your business, about who you are, about your passion. You never know who's sitting there who can turn around things for you.
So
actually, इतना important है, and like Shailesh, especially for you, you're building out of Jabalpur. हम कितना भी बोल लें कि you can build today a business out of anywhere, but वो हमेशा बोलते हैं ना, दिखेगा तो बिकेगा. So
Yeah.
if you're not top of mind and if you're just like a name on an email, it becomes very hard for people to connect. See, all of us are unknown commodities in the market. So if you've not shared a meal, been in front of someone, met them a couple of times, it's very hard for somebody to say, hey, take 4 crores and build, or take 8 crores and build. So like Parag is in Bombay, but Bombay is a big city. But I can tell you almost every week he's traveling. He's either in Delhi or he's in Bombay, Bangalore. He's hustling. He's either meeting dealers, possible dealers, or possible investors. His round is done, but he's now meeting people for the next round, a bigger round, series A. So you're always in the market. Building never stops.
Absolutely.
You have to be
Couldn't
there
agree.
for people to remember you. You have to be seen all the time.
And then, some things which I at least, really like the way Anusha and Shreyansh did it. And you can't do it, Shailesh. Like, they sent me a sample. So every time they did a meeting, like in your case, you can't send me a tractor. That would be. But, but Saurabh, for you guys, every time you meet an investor, you can, or
Right.
Anusha and Saurabh, you can invite them for an experience. You can say, hey,
Yeah.
we are hosting this. उससे क्या होता है ना, they manage to experience the brand.
True.
Absolutely.
Send them a coupon, say, hey, this is a founder coupon or an investor coupon. Go to our site, check out any experience. There are no charges for you. And we will ensure you have a great experience. ये छोटी छोटी चीजें helps build trust. Um, if you're building Remy like a food marketplace, just invite investors for a dinner with a celebrity chef. जितना ये करते हैं ना, like Trey and Anusha are both, highly, popular in the social circles. Like, there is a common friend who runs a chain of restaurants,
Yeah.
and he has invited me 100 times in the last 10 years to his restaurant. I've never been.
Never been.
But just because Shrey and Anusha said, we're getting an award, you have to come, I went there for 15 minutes.
And we were so happy to see you there, Apu. It was
Oh, I know. I'm not much into partying. But
it
ये
really
बहुत
carried.
important है. Like for you, na, Shailesh, if you're doing like a dealer meet to appoint new dealers, कुछ नहीं होगा. Maybe they will not come. Maybe they will send an analyst or principal. But that level of activity in the business has to be very clear. Everybody has to meet. Oh my God, एक FOMO create होना चाहिए. Oh, this week they did this. Second week they did this. They always have to feel कि ये business बहुत अच्छा कर रहा है. So I've met, I know founders, people who have raised 300-400 million. कभी इतना बुरा हालत होता है. Their runway is as low as 90 days. Legal cases चल रहे हैं. You meet them, ऐसा लगेगा कि they are killing it. The world is raining flowers on them.
It's true. That's true. Even we've met founders, we know so much is going on. I think your skin becomes thicker as you go deeper in your business. You just like keep your calm, keep your mind stable, and don't get too excited and don't get too sad and don't get too frustrated. It's always, no matter, nothing should move your mental stability. People are very positive. That's one thing we've learned, to always try and be positive.
Such a great advice. Don't get too excited when things are good. Don't
Yeah,
get too depressed when things are bad.
really.
That's like Buddhist and Zenism advice. So
Absolutely.
बोलते हैं ना कि आज नहीं मरे तो कल अच्छा होगा.
हाँ.
It's all good.
Correct.
Tell us about even with incredible investors, it took 3-4 months to stitch the round. So narrate some examples of what is the to and fro which happens. How do you push once you get one or two investors? How do you use that to push others to convert?
Right. So that's actually very
Hey, by
interesting.
the way, good morning. Sorry, I've been listening to the conversation.
Hey
Hi,
Tarun,
Sorry,
sorry, I didn't realize you've joined.
no, I've listened to the conversation, Apoor, and thanks, but even Apoor is not aware. Tell him about 3 days back what me and you were doing on Upasana and Abby. Pranav, sorry. Apoor, we managed to get Upasana also in.
Wow.
Yeah. So like long round for us is what we can say. So eventually it was so oversubscribed that we had to keep a leeway of like being able to raise certain amount of funds even after the round is closed. But we'll get to that later. At the initial stage, once we got the traction from some good names, from AC Ventures, from our manufacturer, and we had a very strong base. I think to push people, what we started doing is, and we had a lot of interest in term sheets, right? Like that we started getting. So we did started creating those FOMO that okay, now the round is kind of oversubscribed. So like give your commitments as soon as possible. So again, like what Apoor mentioned around FOMO, needs to be generated and needs to be put out there as well. So that one mail that we are sending out saying that okay, this is the amount that we were raising. These are the commitments that we've received.
Yeah.
That one email basically just means that yeah, whoever is going to put in the funds first is going to get in.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that became very important in getting to closing the round. Because if you don't push from your end to close the round is one thing that we've learned, and maybe we didn't do it as well as we could have. I would say the round can get extended forever
You
because
need to know when you need to close your round.
so you need to share information up till the time that you've had that interaction. You don't need to send too much further information because you should send all the exciting news, but I'm saying that then you need to limit your interaction to like, are we closing and how are we closing it. The overall documentation also requires some amount of learning.
Yeah.
Because there all these terminologies which go into a term sheet and then eventually into a shareholder agreement, they were very new to us. That what happens for various scenarios, how an exit is provided, what happens if an exit is provided on time, what constitutes to be an exit, what are the rights that investors have, what are the rights that you have, how many shares can you dilute, what will happen if like so there are multiple clauses to it. But so one suggestion there is that at an early stage, no point in over thinking those. Yes, it should not be unfair towards you, but what we need to realize is that we are at a very early stage, and there is a lot of risk involved in terms of raising at early stage, not only for us, for any cap. So
I'm
being
smiling because I would get panic calls from both of them.
Yeah. What do you think we should do? They need your intervention now.
I would always get a call saying, "Oh my God, they're asking us to do this. What do they mean? We can't sell our shares." So I think it's a huge mindset shift. आप अपना business run कर रहे हो, there are no investors, you can do what you want.
Yeah.
But the moment you get investors, very humbly you have to understand now you are a responsible adult.
Yes.
You are handling other people's money. There are checks and balances, and it's all for your good. Because once you get used to the checks and balances, later on, second round becomes easy whenever you are raising the second round.
Absolutely.
couldn't
Absolutely.
agree
That
more.
discipline is very important.
Very important. Any other questions? We're on top of the hour, so we'll let them go if there are no questions.
I think there was a question, no? One second. What are the points in the consumer journey?
So I think like and Anusha could have a different answer, but
I hope not.
Let's see what your answer is.
yeah, but I think like once we started having product market fit is something that's very palpable, right? If your product is doing well into a channel, it is not like always necessary that it's going to get built over time. So one outlet on an average, when it started doing over 1 lakhs in sales, one singular outlet, and we were at 60-70 of these skin clinics, is I think for me, I realized that okay, this is a definite product market fit. Like there is no doubt if
I
like
have to agree.
one store can do over 1 lakh on an average, and there are so many stores and such outlets available in the market, and there's no supplement there, then I know that okay, fine, we've achieved a product market fit.
And we can keep recreating it in other channels. The same success story here, and then it becomes a domino effect. But yeah, the time when you start getting one repeat buys, when you know that a certain segment of the consumer is coming back for your product, they're writing something or the other, they're telling you that this journey has been great. You just know that something is working for them, and they're coming back to buy a premium product. Is when you know. And like you said, that at a certain revenue level, in a certain in a clinic, gave us a very good understanding that this something like this would work for people.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Anything else, guys, that you would want to ask?
Yeah, one question. So just quickly walk them through what will be your revenue year ending March? What are you targeting next year? How will you use the funds? Because the first round is not the end, it's the beginning of the journey. Almost like. Yeah.
Just gotten started. Absolutely.
So this year, so just for context, in the first year of our operation, we did around 55 lakhs. In the second year of our operation, we went up to 2.2 CR. So almost did the revenue into,
Into
four, around 4x of revenue. From 2.2 CR, now we would be hitting 7 CR plus revenue in this financial year. So already 7 to 7.5 CR. So I think that is what makes the difference, that the trajectory is going through,
At a certain
at a certain multiple that you're being able to generate value. I think the golden rule is to at the initial stages 3 to 4 CR of 3 to 4x
multiple, yeah.
of revenue. So now that we are sitting at like around say 7 8 CR, the idea is to reach at least 24 to 25 CR. Then it becomes meaty enough for investors to really get that 3x sort of a 3x to 4x sort of a return in terms of revenue, so that they're interested to fund you further, so that they're interested to really get that feeling that they put in their money in the right high growth space. So those were the targets, and where the money is getting deployed is first and foremost towards team building. I think we were able to build all of this bootstrapped and very
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 thinking.
profitably.
Mm.
I think that made a lot of difference, in fact, to be profitable and to be in a growth trajectory. Both the things parallelly is a very lethal combination and a very attractive option for any investor as well. So money
Those
gets
who are profitable, na? Shailesh, like in your case, you're profitable. We have to both deliver the numbers, और कोई भी investor कुछ भी बोले, सबकी बात सुन के smile करना है, but remain profitable. Because if you're growing 3-4 times and you're profitable, we'll create insane value for all of us.
Absolutely.
And for those of you who are not profitable, every month, improve your ROS, get to profitability, reduce discounting. Needless to say, loss into 100 times growth is basically, it's a mess. So you have to do both.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and the money is getting mostly deployed into building the right teams, into now building
More partners.
more partnerships. We've grown a lot through partnerships, so supporting them through the right brand marketing, right digital marketing. I think D2C channel is something that we are very excited to
To build
develop
and
and build,
develop
and we're
now.
getting very strong e-commerce traction at the initial level. So it's growing very fast already. So just adding fuel to that to be able to scale it up
See,
rapidly.
Anousha, tell everybody about one thing which I've always told you guys. I think most common thing.
Which
किसकी
is
कंपनी है और कितने स्पीड पे बनाना है.
So I didn't catch
I've
sorry,
that.
always shared one piece of advice with both of you always.
yeah.
Oh, yes, I know that advice very nicely. So what Apoort always tells us, that it is your company and you are building it for
For
yourself.
yourself, make it
It
sustainable,
is.
make it
It
for your
gives.
kids. He's like, make sure that your kids are happy. It's a business that you are going to, this is your business. अपने लिए बनाओ उसको.
अपने
Right.
लिए बनाओ, खुश रहो, healthy रहो.
Always.
Stress मत लो.
Always told us.
It is so important
Yeah.
and gives you so much clarity.
Yeah.
Because mind does get wavered, that यार like ये pressure है, थोड़ा जल्दी build कर लेते हैं, थोड़ा
Shortcuts ले लेते हैं.
थोड़े shortcuts ले लेते हैं, थोड़ा let's put it
ज़्यादा
into
spend
channels
करते हैं.
that we are not very sure
Yeah.
about, just so that we get that number in the books, that okay, we've been able to reach this milestone.
But be true to your.
But be true to yourself, that by the end of it you are building it for yourself.
For yourself.
It is at its core, it's a business,
Yeah.
which needs to be profitable. So how you would deal with anyone else's business, you're building it for yourself, essentially gives you just a lot of clarity. And I had to use it completely a lot of time.
Every time we have
just to
any,
get.
so we like, Poor's advice comes in play that time.
देखो बहुत important है. It's okay. Maybe we'll get there 1 year later or 2 years later. Important thing is to get there with a healthy mind, body, soul, and
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Ravi.
Yeah, Shreyansh, I want to ask that when you started out, so you started with some X amount of SKUs. So year down the line, how do you decided कि मुझे इस point पे नया SKU launch करना है, at this point, because you are having 4 to 5x of growth. So it happened due to the addition of SKUs or the same set of SKUs you were going forward with.
So it happened because of both. So the current level of SKUs were also increasing, and the new SKUs, the dual action capsules, were launched later. They were very revolutionary. So they added a lot
Fuel to our growth.
to our growth. So and how did we decide this? Because of our interaction with skin clinics. So we love interacting and being out there. I think it makes a lot of difference. So what am I talking about? Sorry. So if you look at us, we
We
would
go
be
for
out
awards.
all the time, meeting, sitting with skin clinics, sitting with dermatologists, sitting with practitioners, sitting with retailers, and trying to figure out what is it that consumers are coming there, uh, to their clinics for,
And
and to
building a
their retail
rapport
outlets for, and
with our
building that very strong rapport. We keep on hosting these events of feedback, like we've already
mentioned
mentioned slightly before. So all this is what really drove us into.
awards.
Hmm. That's what really drove us to really understanding that, okay, these are the supplements that can work, and this is the right time to bring it. So a lot of our partners we went back to, and we went like, okay, we are launching this at this price point. What do you feel about it? Right. So a lot of like to and fro happened before we launched the product, and not like we just launched it in isolation and then we tried to push it into the market.
Okay, great, great.
Great. Yeah. Thank you so much. Shrey and Anusha are very helpful. So please do stay connected to them, learn from them. You can even do butters. So you can do joint collaboration posts. You can do, let's help each other really get to the next level.
We're more than happy to.
Absolutely. And I went through the cohort list,
Yeah.
and really, really excited for what all is being built. Like I went through the profiles and I saw a little bit about the kind of businesses you guys are doing. So super, super impressive.
Good luck
Work,
to
some
all of you.
amazing spaces that I could see. So wish
Only one last thing from my side, for and Shreya and Anusha obviously have been talking to me regularly about this, but I think Salesh, for everybody on the call, once we've been able to close, the super strategic investors like Chakri or even the other ones, right? It's very important for us to sort of contemplate how can we leverage them besides money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously, Shreya and Anusha have quite a laundry list now in terms of their cap table via ACV. So we should regularly figure out, yaar, kahan kisse help le sakte hain, because they're all friends also, right? And
And
the
drip
idea
feed
of
this
them.
karo. जो investor group पे है ना, because money आ गया, it's okay. But keep adding exciting things. Hey, we won this award. Hey,
Yeah.
we did this show. Hey, we opened a new channel. First month it did this much. We opened a new outlet.
Yeah.
Because the more you stay top of mind for people on LinkedIn, Twitter, WhatsApp,
Correct.
the more the
You
good
generate.
energies and good karma flows towards you.
No, but that's one. And even if we need any help,
Yeah,
right, to cut through any of, I mean, they are a challenge with Amazon, we should freely reach out to the investors in our group here. There's no harm because they're all invested, right?
and plus we have the largest DTC founders in India.
Correct.
अगर वो नहीं कर पाएंगे ना कोई नहीं कर पाएगा.
That's true. Thank
correct,
you.
correct, absolutely correct.
Yeah.
And we are very blessed with the kind of people who've joined us. All of them are very helpful.
Everyone.
So if you extend your if you need help, like please ask. I feel like there's so many people who are more than willing to enable, to uplift. It's a beautiful structure to be in.
वो बोलते हैं ना कि we did not pay them and no animals were harmed in making of this video. So with that we will close the call. Have a brilliant day and thank you so much.
Thank you
you
so
guys.
much,
Thank
Apu.
you.
Thanks, Arun. Thank you, everyone.
And have a good
Thank
weekend.
you, Shreyansh. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. That was so helpful.
Thank you.
Good day. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye bye.